welcome to another Room 420 presented by Veriheal. I am honored to have my fellow coworkers and some of my favorite people in the world. We got Anthony Dutcher and Lauren Drago. How you doing, guys?
What up?
Another
Low and Dutch, low and Dutch.
Have we done a podcast since the Avs won?
No, we have not. This is the first one since the Avs won the Stanley Cup, so we're pretty jazzed about it, right?
Colorado sports.
All you Philly people right now.
Yeah, you know, I mean, Lauren's gay sports,
East
right?
Coast.
Go sports.
Yeah.
Go sports, yay. It's fun. It's hard to root for a team you didn't grow up with, but you got to support the city, and it was pretty insane. There was fireworks. I live, 20 minutes outside the city, and it was like the 4th of July.
Do you think Veriheal kind of brought that good luck since moving here?
Oh, yeah, it was all us. It was all us.
You got to.
Yeah, and then the Den of the Cup. I love that.
I think I've talked to a few people who are just like, I have zero interest. I don't care.
Hockey's tough to watch on TV. That was hype. I mean, the whole series, that whole series was hype.
Yeah.
I mean, especially just beating the crap out of Tampa is amazing in any sport. You know, we're just tired of that. Tampa sports doing so well.
Dude, since I feel like anywhere Tom Brady, like when Boston back in the day was really good too. Tom Brady, wherever he is, he made a deal with something. I really do.
There's something wrong.
You know what I mean? Like there's some. You're a DC person, so like, did you grow up like loving?
No.
Not at all.
I mean, we had the Redskins out there, so everyone's like diehard. And then I have family in Texas, so by default I have to be a Dallas fan.
Oh, that's fair.
So
a Philly and Dallas fan.
Growing up in the DC area, yes.
I just want to see a fight before the podcast ends. Like HR has to get involved here.
The Redskins. What were they thinking? Who else just changed their name? The Indians became the
Guardians.
But like Braves is fine.
Well, and I remember back in the day that Washington Wizards used to be the Bullets.
Oh.
Was that an issue?
So they changed it because there was so much gun violence in Washington, D.C.
And no guns.
Yeah, so it was like Washington Bullets, Washington Redskins. You know, and I think there's a few sports like the Braves, but I think there's been a whole balloon.
I think Braves is okay.
I'm a Fighting Irish fan of Notre Dame.
Oh,
like a lot of people. Some people are kind of upset about that. But I'm like,
really?
Yeah, but I'm like, I think it was from when they were boxing because they have such a good boxing team. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the Irish want to brawl.
Well, it used to be the Catholics too. So
drop that.
Background change. Yeah.
You know, so it's like those kinds of names in sports. Like, who comes up with them? You know what I mean? Hopefully, in the future, Veriheal has a NASCAR team. I think we're pushing that, right?
NASCAR car wraps would be absolutely incredible. That's the dream. I don't know if it's our demographic. I think so.
We could find out.
Yeah.
I just think it'd be sweet. Like, you just see like a Veriheal car and like a dude smoking while he's racing too.
Oh yeah. Oh, you know, BK did the chicken fries commercial.
Yeah.
With the insert in the helmet, we could be like a joint holder.
He's just going, killing it.
If you can have a catheter, you can have some intake. You know, 500 laps is
something
crazy.
Like that. Dude, so we're kind of wanted to talk today about the Brittney Griner case that's coming up on Friday. So July 1st, if you guys don't know, Brittney Griner was arrested 4 months ago in a Moscow airport for alleged possession of cannabis. So they're saying she had vape cartridges. So it's kind of been a crazy 4 months for her and her family. This trial is set to begin Friday. Have you guys been checking up on that at all or looking at it?
Definitely.
Here and there, yes.
Yeah. I feel like it's becoming like in and out of the news, and I think we just saw like this photo, and we're like, that definitely looks like she's been, through
Something's
the ringer.
up.
Yeah.
Her eyes.
Yeah.
She's
they're
either traumatized or.
But she was also in like normal robe, like.
Yeah.
And she's so much taller than the Russian guy. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. Like when you get that like person that size in like a Russian prison too. I just feel like it's
even more targeted.
Yeah, that's that stature and everything. I mean, I'm kind of curious. Like looking forward, like there's got to be like an E60 or something like 30 for 30.
I'm curious, like, to see the actual product. Like, is that going to get released? It's not like it's a public hearing, is it? Is it? It's not going to be like televised.
I don't know.
Is it? Or do they do that?
How they do it in Russia?
We were like curious, like, what is the Russian like? Is there going to be Russian drawings, pictures? You know what I mean? Like, what's the Russian legal system? Because I think like we've had people talk about like,
is Putin the judge?
Dude, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, what does he say about how much to say to?
Is this like a standard prosecution? Do we know, or is this being like put on a pedestal because of war proceedings and whole proceedings.
And that's something.
Hopefully.
I think it's like where a lot of people are like, I feel like this is a kind of a sham trial. You know, that's what like a lot of American media has been kind of saying.
Was it one vape cartridge?
I think it was 4.
A dab pen, several dab pens.
Something I know. It's like
she was playing in a D League, a Pro League.
Well, like she was playing in I think it was like an off-season league to get paid to play over there. So like, I mean, there's arguments to be made about like WNBA wages too.
And how long has she been there?
4 months now.
But before then, it was like a stint question. She went to go there.
Yeah. So
did she get product there?
Well, she's been playing over there, like in her off seasons for a while, right. Which kind of begs the question: is like, well, you know, part of me is like she would know. Yeah. The cannabis laws over there.
Let's say let's say four cartridges, a gram each.
Yeah.
Let's say max. I've never seen more than a gram, maybe more, maybe a gram and a half. Anyways, 4 grams here, you get a fine. You're not getting 10 years in jail.
Yeah. Like no. Have you guys had experience with that at all, or?
Not with 4 cartridges in the cops. In Colorado, that's I think well in your legal limit. Back in Virginia, maybe Texas, you would get maybe you'd go to a holding cell for a little.
Yeah.
Maybe a year. I mean, there's people that have gotten caught with the joint and the couple grams that have served stupid, crazy life sentences that are getting reversed now.
That guy in Mississippi, they still upheld his life sentence for. It wasn't even an ounce.
What was the situation with that?
He got caught with, I think, just a little less of an ounce, but in Mississippi. And they upheld his life sentence because he has a history of being a violent criminal. So
it's like the other stuff factors into that. Yeah. Okay, so it's like if you get caught in weed, but they're like, all right, you've like robbed a bunch of banks or something like that.
No, not 10 years.
Yeah.
Presumably.
Yeah.
People of color, there have been, and that have, gotten the full hand of the law unnecessarily, nonviolent.
Very disproportionate.
Released. Yeah, just absurd. But all right, it's safe to say that she more than likely wouldn't have gotten 10 years. What the potential that worst case scenario is for
like even if they're like pushing the scale down with their thumb a little bit on the weight.
But they probably, I mean, I assume they will, just so that what we hear of U.S. making a deal with a Russian jailer that we have. Who'd you say the guy was?
So potentially the Russian media has been pushing for a trade.
Yeah.
And I don't think we'd even think about the trade unless she was convicted.
Yeah.
So like they're trying to get Victor Bout, who's a Russian arms trader known as the Merchant of Death. And we've kind of talked about like I think a lot of people have said like this is a very unpalatable trade.
And he's been in for how long?
I want to say like a decade.
And where do we store these people now?
I think, I know Florence down in Colorado, we have a lot like the Unabomber, and a lot of Al-Qaeda terrorists, like between there and Guantanamo.
Where here?
Florence, Colorado. Yeah, Florence. So it's a Supermax gel in the mountains.
Can you drive by it?
You can, but I don't think you can see much.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like, and they have like detailed prison, like what it looks like.
So it's like in the new, did you see the new Tom Hanks Top Gun?
Oh, like that.
Where they have to get to?
Yeah,
it's
like
that.
That kind of thing. Tom Hanks.
Sorry. Cruise.
Could you imagine Tom Hanks? Tom Hanks Top Gun?
Yes. Speed.
Like, speed, Buzz.
I know Jared, the Subway guy. He's out in Golden.
Yeah, so that one, he's like right by ArmCAD. It's in another high school, actually.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, you drive right past it. Yep.
Okay, so we're going to get Buzz Lightyear, and we're going to find the Supermax, which also looks incredible. I don't know. Like, I'm stoked on that movie.
We do like a bust film, like who's going to bust Brittney Griner out of this Russian prison? Tom Hanks, Tom Cruise.
Buzz Lightyear.
Buzz Lightyear. Yep. The Chris Evans version.
Yeah.
That one. That kind of credence of it.
Yeah, okay, so that Florence, though.
Yeah.
Central, close to Denver.
It's definitely a few hours away. I've never been there.
Yeah, no.
But I've read about it just, just reading about like all the criminals we have here.
Maybe that's like the Colorado UFO stuff that so many are spotted here. Maybe it's just like
we have so much crazy stuff here in Colorado. Like, I mean, we had NORAD down Cheyenne Mountain. Yeah. You know what I mean? All that stuff.
Does it coincide with cannabis legalization?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's mushrooms here. And then
we're
what
else? Definitely a drug capital. I think like Jack Kerouac definitely made that a lot more famous and stuff
too.
Yeah.
Medicine capital.
Was like crazy. Medicine for sure. Yeah. Go with medicine.
Okay, so back to Griner. Our thoughts and prayers are with her. Friday, definitely. If this is released Friday, July 1st?
Yeah, July 1st is when her trial starts.
If it doesn't get postponed, like, can't they just realistically postpone it as long as they want?
The Russian, and here's what's kind of crazy, I was reading this, is like, so acquittals can be overturned too in Russia. So you're going to get acquitted, and they're like, no.
No.
I had read that they have a 99% conviction rate, so that she's likely just going to get convicted anyway. And
that's the thing is, like, I'm so unsure. It's like I'm doing a full, like, kind of college course, it seems, like learning about the Russian legal system.
If you're in another country, maybe like, I don't know, Philippines or Singapore, and you get caught with weed, anything, like, it's not great for you as a tourist, but you probably just get kicked out of the country and sent back, I think.
I would hope.
Because there's like guys, I've heard stories of even like military people getting caught with like acid in Japan, and then they just kick them out.
Yeah.
And obviously you get dishonorable discharge and stuff like that, but like,
I definitely feel like it's like when, depending on what I guess the president is too, or like what's going on in the world, like they're gonna make a scapegoat out of some Americans some places. Especially, I mean, Brittney Griner's a lot more high profile than me, or any of us at the table.
Yeah, we wouldn't be relevant.
Yeah,
I don't think.
I don't know. Like I've heard of like military guys who travel to Mexico with like their prescription opiates and getting stuck over there for a very long time. And it's like per pill is how long that.
I have a friend of a friend. Now a friend, I guess, that was in Costa Rica on a ayahuasca retreat. I just heard this story the other week, and he got like pretty badly interrogated by his like pretty like big like SWAT level security military that and he's like, I was kind of looking like, you know, some cartel vibe. Like I wasn't looking like smoking a cigar out of the taxi, and like he knew he didn't have anything on him, so he was like fine. And they ended up like searching all of his stuff, and they found in his DOP kit like a THC cartridge, actually very relevant. And the cop looks at him and says, "CBD?" He's like, "Yes,
absolutely.
yes,
CBD.
Go." Because apparently, and then he talks to the driver on the way to continuing after. Like he was like, like we don't have those here, so we didn't know. Like cops didn't know, and they know kind of what CBD is. So the fact that Russia even knew and then was pressing on them is, I mean, it's a little better probably than Costa Rican. I don't know. I don't know security levels in these countries.
And I think that's a curious thing is like when you have to use your medicine or something like that, and you're traveling too. Is like how do you go about this, and you know. Because it is like
you just don't use it,
and that's the thing too. It's like I think like for instance going to Thailand right now, it being legal there, and like being like, okay, how do you do that if you go on and travel?
I'll preface by saying not an narc, but all the people that travel out of Colorado that are just like, what? No, go with it. And I don't know, maybe hearsay, but like if you actually get caught in the Denver airport with product leaving, like what is it? Because it's federal ground in an airport, is it?
I think so.
Or is it like amnesty if they find it in TSA? Once you get in the plane, like we'll leave that aside. But like, let's say you're in there in theory, very hypothetically, with product, and then like they find it. Do they just throw it out if it's in your legal limit? Like, is the airport federal property or is it Colorado property?
I think it's
great question.
Great question.
Is it private owned?
I just know that TSA's government, right?
Yeah,
so
TSA's
if the government finds it, it's
which is appalling illegal. That some of these people are government.
Because we're talking about those amnesty boxes in Chicago that like people were like just taking weed out of them.
They just take the boxes.
Yeah. And like nobody uses
free
it.
Weed.
Like free weed, sick. You know. And then also not a narc, but
I mean, just not narc. But we didn't find that out because like who owns this? Who owns this airport?
I feel like that's so much like the laws are so lagging behind and stuff like that too. I mean, it's like there's so many like legal conundrums, like, and outside of cannabis too. Like there was a question that somebody posted to me about like birthing process too, where it was talking about like if people freeze like their eggs and sperm and then get divorced and then have a baby after, what's the
is this the Elon thing?
But just stuff like that where it's like
dude,
I'm like there's so much like tech and like forward future like with weed now, you know, being legalized, like going to different states, like what's the laws
there's
there?
way too many nuances for anything to like work out ever.
Like I gotta have a handbook for everything now,
right?
Yeah, but like, and then also with like the Juul thing getting taken off the market, like and the government just so pinpointing them only.
So what was the story with
so
that?
many vape shops that sell vape. The government just banned Juuls because they're saying that it's such a big uprising amongst teenagers, and sure, teenagers shouldn't be vaping probably or using cigarettes for brain development and addiction. Getting addicted then sucks, but you know, a lot of us do it.
Something about the
A lot of us do
flavored.
it.
The flavors.
Yeah, the flavored ones have been
too-
long gone.
Yeah.
But
that's so peculiar because it's like ban Truly.
ban vapes.
You know,
And,
ban
all
White
vapes.
Claws.
All the
Hard
like,
seltzers.
vape companies.
Yeah.
Why just Target Jewel?
Fucking ban or like Target gas stations selling it to them. Like,
Yeah.
kids are gonna get them one way or the other. Like,
I think it's always fascinating is when we look to the teenagers with those kind of laws and stuff like that. We're protecting teenagers, and like it's illegal anyways. So
we're banning Juuls and the guns are still just like whatever. Like,
well, that's
what's
the thing
pressing?
too.
What
It just-
matters?
We make
Nothing matters anymore,
rational.
guys.
Yeah.
What matters?
Everything's a
irrational.
fiasco.
Oh, let's decide to now vote on Roe v. Wade. Like, why is this here?
Yeah.
And mango vapes?
Mango
It's
vapes.
like if I had to draw
Yeah.
a diagram for my children someday of what was happening in the year 2022, it's gonna be like, what the fuck were you guys doing?
What is happening?
I think it's interesting because we're
Juul
talking about
pods,
that. Like the Safe
abortions,
Banking Act
yeah.
was recently removed from a China competition bill too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
It was just like taken off the floor, like it was gonna come back.
Yeah.
I can't even keep up with how many ideations
It's like
that is. It's like
Chance
where
number 20
Yeah.
for the Safe
What?
Banking Act.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it didn't go through again.
there's too many, but that's probably like the powers that be, whatever. Like someone's doing something because this Juul thing is so pinpointed targeted.
I feel like the U.S. government's a little bit.
Isn't Juul also owned by is Pax Labs? But did Pax Labs not get bought by Philip Morris or whoever does Paul PM? What's the Paul?
Philip Morris?
Philip Morris.
Yeah. And
Paul Mall.
Paul Mall.
yeah. Marlboro.
Yeah.
Marlboro.
So I feel like one of them has a controlling stake or something, or the other one. There's like three big ones. And one of them
Because I think that was like the case where they were talking about a while ago why they were trying to ban flavored cigarettes was more so they would just get
menthol.
menthols. So people just buy those, you know, because they're like they eliminate competition.
But they're doing away with menthol too, maybe.
So yeah, it's kind of interesting. I always feel like just follow the money.
Yeah.
Figure out what's going on.
What's
That's a good point.
You know?
You know, in Richmond, that big old Marlboro cigarette down the highway, I think it's
The Philip Morris
95.
headquarters.
There's just a big old Marlboro cigarette
it's just
smokestack.
standing up.
It's just like a smokestack or something.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. It's
Yeah.
America.
Like, oh,
but then
there's
it's
a
like,
cigarette plant.
damn.
Yeah.
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 So there's that. And then.
They're reducing the nicotine, too.
That's fine. That's
Yeah.
fine. Just like
There's
reduce
a
the
lot
chemicals.
going on.
Yeah.
What do we know?
I think there's whenever they make changes like that too, I think it affects, like we talked in Colorado a few years ago when there was the grocery stores allowed to sell more than 3.2% alcohol in beer.
It's like done, right?
Yeah,
I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, so like stuff like that, I'm
Was
always
it for
just,
protect tourists?
I think so, but it's like the breweries weren't happy,
Yeah.
if I remember, or the liquor stores.
Is that even a fun beer? Like, why even drink that beer?
3.2?
Like not. It's like
So
NA.
weak.
It's like
Keep
half.
drinking it all day, I guess.
Get
You know,
fat.
All day.
Still the
That's
same
it.
amount of calories.
yeah.
Oh.
Or like the light beers now are like what 96 calories.
I just saw a music festival in Michigan that was selling Four Locos, and they were 14%.
Yo.
And like the pounders, like I would have a fun time for a little.
Yeah.
And
I always
then
think
it'd
it's
be terribly
interesting
sick.
to look at like the liquor laws versus cannabis
Yeah.
laws and like what have we learned and what have we learned and not implemented too.
One has medical implications, though one does not. But
And that's something to think about too.
One is way more deadly
Yeah.
than the other.
But what do we do about tobacco? This is something I've always been interested in. Is like I've heard there's actually like a tiny healthy bit of nicotine intake that's good for your brain at some capacity. And
Really?
obviously, a whole cigarette is carcinogens and all these additives. It's definitely not healthy. We know this. But I'd like to know like nicotine specifically extracted. Like what's big here? Those Zins. Like it's like almost dip, but not. It's just like a little bit.
Yeah.
What's that?
We had those canna dips recently. I'm a fan of
Canna
those
dips.
CBD
Yeah.
dips.
Those
Yeah.
are cool.
Those are brilliant.
Yeah, you get a little tingle.
Well, it's not. It
Or just
just
nothing?
tastes good.
Oh.
Yeah.
It tastes good. I'm like it just
I
You don't
gives
feel
out-
like throwing up.
yeah, like that. You're like, oh man, I don't feel that sickness or
I
anything
don't feel
like
the need to
that.
spit everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the worst.
You can swallow. Yeah, I was like, dude, those are genius.
It's just like having like a piece of gum.
But
like,
what
stuck
is
in your
the
lip.
upside? Like,
I
what
think
do
the
you-
upside of that is like,
that
okay,
help?
so if you like chewing, you like that act, or like
Yeah.
the oral fixation, like you have that healthy alternative. It's like, dude, cannabis is just better in a lot
This
of
is what we
ways.
talked
too.
about
Yeah.
on the last podcast. Is you're not gonna crush THC beers, like,
Yeah.
but like,
No.
what is the like? How do we get the short dosing, fast acting, but also slow, like less elongated THC intake, like the THC beer, the THC joint that you can just smoke like recreationally, but not just get plastered.
Right.
Well, I mean, I think this is a good question for Lo, who makes some of the bombest honey and stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, because I mean, would you use that with tea or something like that too, or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think that's
100%.
has like how do you think you gauge that at least like?
I don't.
At all?
And it's a fine art.
It was definitely a crapshoot for your first few attempts. I remember
Absolutely.
being like
It
stoned
still
for
is.
like
I don't
a
know what I'm
month.
doing half the time.
And like,
My edibles come out super strong.
yeah, I was just sleepy, man. I couldn't do nothing. Motivation. I felt great though. Felt
Yeah.
really good. But yeah, and then I was like, all right, I gotta get myself back on the saddle. I'm slowing down every day, like having some honey. It was so tasty too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You made it. What else you made? Candied apples. That didn't go too good. They were like.
Yeah, the caramel came out really hard. I made gummies, chocolate. I made brownies. In fact, Noel, our videographer, he was my test dummy, and yeah, he was out of commission for a whole day.
Oh, it was brilliant.
He ate a glob of butter.
It was a brilliant day though. I think we had like lunch too, and yeah, he was just mobbing.
But one day he was like, "Yo, I'm hurting, yo. Yo, someone's gotta save me,
I gotta
dude."
go home.
Just scraping batter.
Yep.
So back to Russia. What do
Yep.
we think? Like, we don't know anything about their cannabis laws. Do we?
Oh.
I think this is going to be an interesting thing to kind of.
They're not like
learn about.
online. Like,
No,
right outside
yeah.
They're
of-
also
Are they
not
in
like
books?
Yeah.
the U.S. where everything is dealt very fairly, and
Yeah.
justly. Like everything. I feel like
Fairly.
Russia's kind of like whatever goes.
Yeah,
To
and
be quite honest.
I think this is going to be one. I mean, we're going to try to keep you guys updated here at Veriheal with what's going on with it. I know a lot of people are interested in this case, and I think people are just interested in like what can I do with cannabis too.
Yeah.
Just what are the new updates?
It's not like there's a live stream of it.
Yeah, I mean, this is
We'll tweet a thread.
we'll tweet a thread. For me, I mean, it's just even like talking about that trade because that's what Russia is really pushing. It's like I don't think that's going to happen. You know, and if it does, I think
Time will
that's.
tell.
I don't think it's smart.
If we
at
can
least,
give
yeah.
up their murder, what is he?
He's a
The
merchant
arms
of
dealer.
death.
Merchant
yeah.
of
Merchant
death.
So he's
of
been like
death.
funding terrorist organizations and stuff like that.
Him
so-
directly?
Trading
Yeah.
him for
Yeah.
someone
So he's
who
an
may or may
oligarch?
not have had weed.
Yeah,
Just like a little bit of weed.
Like a
or
KGB
bag.
guy or like an oligarch?
probably like an old KGB guy.
How did we get him?
So I
Was
probably
he here?
CIA.
Was he here?
Probably a task
Got him
organization.
and brought him?
And here's the thing: they might be making that case like, "Oh, you seized him on foreign soil" or something like that too. But it's like, where does that international law come into?
Brittany's in Moscow?
Yeah, so I think she's in Moscow right now.
What's the other place? St.
Petersburg.
Yeah. And what was it like? Leningrad, Stalingrad, and it changed to whatever.
Russian history, guys.
I think Russian politics is pretty damn interesting.
Yeah.
At least just thinking about how their influence with sports too, and how they approach that. You know, I think they're very aware of Brittney Griner too, and part of me is like, okay, are they going to do this so they can hurt us in the Olympics too? You know, like what's
She like that?
Yeah, she's really good too. You know, but
Okay.
it's crazy. I mean, just that kind of that vibe. I know anything they could do to hurt our sports too. Kind of like
Yeah.
Help their own.
And they don't mind a long con either.
yeah. So I'm like, you know, is America gonna do this with their wrestlers and stuff too, or their hockey players? I mean, they've had people defect to us in the past, so
I like that term, a long
Yeah.
con.
long
Use that.
con.
A long con.
Yeah.
They got time.
So-
They got
yeah.
time.
Any
Who
closing
knows?
thoughts you guys got about this?
Thoughts and prayers, man.
Ah,
Yeah, I don't even know.
get her out of there.
Yeah.
Do what you gotta do, Biden. Do something.
Come on.
Do something, man.
I say send Tom Hanks and Tom
Send
Cruise.
Tom Hanks first.
Please.
Send Tom Hanks
Tom
in a
Hanks,
fighter
save
jet.
us. Or
And
save
then
her.
send Tom Cruise to rescue him.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Good to go. So hey guys, if you're checking this case out, leave your thoughts in the comments. Appreciate you guys listening. Be sure to subscribe to us and also check out our other podcast, Tiny Tokes, to stay up to date on the latest in cannabis news, guys. Thanks for listening.